Hello everybody, welcome to the next episode of Dave Gets Wood. See a part of the table here, as we're working on the dining table still, but you'll notice from the last video the pieces have gone. I've finished checking them up. The piece that was in this corner, the corner bracket, I did manage to sand that down a little bit, get it to fit and checked it, it all seemed okay. So I've stripped all the pieces off now. They're in the other room. They're waiting to be varnished. They've already had their repair work done a long time ago, so they are now ready for a varnish, which means that now this table, underneath of this table, is ready for a repair, or the start of the repair process, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So I've already marked where there's quite a few holes to deal with. There are a few big carved out areas which I was still am in two minds about whether I try filling it with resin or just leave it. I am tempted to just leave it, to be honest, especially with it being the underneath. Either that, or if I am going to do it, I do it with a colour, but don't fill each of the I don't know what to call them, divots, each of the divots. Don't fill it to the top with colour, fill it almost to the top and then top it off with clear. That would be one thing that I think I would have to do. But today I'm going to focus mainly on filling the little holes that I need to do. The underside of this table, although it has been sanded quite a few times, I never did sand it to the point of sort of finished, because obviously I was waiting for this repair stage. So there's quite a few areas that you might think, well, why am I not filling those? And that's because I'm going to be sanding them smooth. So where there's like very small divots, I'm not going to fill that. It's only holes and cracks that I'm going to fill with glue and wood dust, sawdust. Oh jeez, if I can get to the glue bottle. It's been a while. Now I've got a towel. Oh Jesus. Got a towel on the table. Oh, that hurt. Just so I don't get glue everywhere, or at least that's the hope. I need to get paper cloth so I can mop up. Right, back in a sec. Right, sorry about that. Now I will apologise if you can hear a lot of wind noise. I've got a fan on, so even though it's not particularly hot in it, I am. I'm hot, sweaty and out of breath. Okay, so I'm just going to go with some PVA glue, similar sort of mixtures, well, same mixture as previous, no particular specific quantity. And then just bung a load of wood dust in. Not that you can see at the minute, but don't worry, not missing out on much. I'll tilt the camera over so you can see it. I'm going to go with the same approach as previous that we worked best, which was, rather than trying to fill the holes and smooth them, we just took sawdust for the glue. Let's pop a bit more glue in. Yeah, rather than trying to be sort of delicate and all that with it, we'll just dollop into the holes and make sure that it's covered over the top quite a bit, and then we can sand it down. too much sawdust for the amount of glue there, which is fine because I've sorted it out now, just a bolt. Now it's been quite a long time since I've been working on the table. Did a couple of videos recently over the last couple of weeks, which will have come out recently. I think they may have come out 3 days in a row, but they were recorded I think a week or two apart, and it was 2 or 3 weeks ago. So yeah, it's been a while. Oh dear. Okay, so I'm going to start over here, by the way. Yeah, so it's been a while since I've really been working on the table or anything really, which is not good, which I know that. I've definitely been slacking. Now quite a few of the holes that we've got are small holes. There are a few cracks which I need to deal with, which one of them being here. I mean, from what I can gather, they are basically superficial cracks, but there's nothing major to worry about. But by gluing them, it removes any risk of them progressing, or at least that's the idea. Well, we've got a bit of a crack here that runs along to about here. It doesn't go all the way through, but it goes underneath one of the trim pieces of wood, so technically I could leave it, but I don't want to. I want to make sure that we're not allowing it to spread more. So even I am spreading this, but I'm not trying to spread it flat or smooth. I'm just sort of splodge spreading it, because then the glue can just sink down into the hole, into the gaps. Because that's what we found was an issue before. What I found was an issue before was that I was sort of doing things nice and precise, but then as the glue was drying and it was sinking into the gaps, then I ended up having to top up the glue, whereas it's a lot easier, I think, just to overfill it a bit, let it all sink in, and then sand it flat. I probably should have done the bit nearest me last. This particular split that I'm working on here, this is nowhere near wide enough to warrant trying resin on it. It just wouldn't work. Well, it might work, but it wouldn't look very good. I mean, if it was, I suppose if it was a clear resin, it would work, and you could get it to look okay, but it would be a lot of faffing for a small bit. Right, I'm going to leave the bit that's under the towel. So do this bit. Actually, I'll do that bit last. Okay, so I'm going to work. It might actually be an idea to go round to the side. I'll have a look in this. Depends on how many holes we've got to do. That's not a screw hole. because like that bit there, that's quite deep. So I need to make sure I splodge quite a bit on there because it will sink. I need to make sure I don't go filling screw holes because that would just be daft. But that is why I went round marking where I do need to do gluing, especially where screw holes were near other holes. Oh. I'm going to need more glue. I'll just put my fingers in it. Well done. Couple of holes there. I mean, you might wonder what's the point of doing this with it being the underside of the table, but like I said, I'd rather know that any sort of splits or cracks are not going to go any further. But also then I know that the table's fully repaired, or at least that's the idea. So I've got a bit there, but I can use the towel in a moment for that. Do we have a couple? I also want to make sure that I don't go filling in any of the markings that I made for lining up the pieces, or knowing exactly which piece goes where. Okay. Oh. Right. Do this bit here. Deepish one. Now all of these sort of holes, I could, if I want to, dig them out and smooth them out, but I don't really want to do that because a lot of them are from pins, which means it would have been quite deep. So I'm better off, I feel, just filling them. Now, it's been a long time since I've seen the top side of the table, so I'm not 100% certain on how that's looking, to be honest. Now, but always was part of the plan to repair the underneath, get it like all cleaned up, sanded down, ready for varnish, flip it over, and then deal with any repairs on the other side, on the top side. But then also see if we're going to put the patterning that I was thinking of doing. I still want to, I just need to make sure I'm confident enough to do it and that I can do it and make it not look shit. Okay, so I'm going to need to let all that lot dry, but I am going to try and move over to sort of the middle section, and then we'll try and get that end section done, so be back in a sec. Right, so I'm going to need to mix up a little bit more glue, so I'm going to do that. And I'll also start filling from that end and coming this way this time. It would make a bit more sense. Now, one of the good things about doing this with glue and not resin is that if it was resin, it'd take 24 hours to dry. With this being glue, it should only take a few hours. So it shouldn't take as long to dry up. Although when it comes to the sanding part of it, I'm going to want to leave that some time anyway. But yeah, at least it'll initially dry. I mean, it's already the outer skin of it is already beginning to dry because it's touching the air. Now, having said that, with some of these bigger bits, if I do want to use resin with it, I can, because with them being sort of individual areas, they're small enough that I can cover each one individually to let it dry. Then again, if I'm going to do it with coloured resin, and then I'm going to have to wait 24 hours before I can put clear resin on it, and then wait another 24 hours for clear resin to do. But it would save me the hassle of trying to sand them out, but not sand them out, but smooth the edges up. But then it would probably look better with smoothed edges. Basically make it so it doesn't look like someone's just carved chunks out of it. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but here there's 3 fairly decent sized chunks missing, and the edges do look like it's kind of been chopped out, whereas this bit, for example, which I took a lot of wood out of there, but this is smoothed, and I'm going to smooth it more so it looks like it's just a natural part of the wood. But anyway, right, let's crack on with doing this. So let's see what we got, shall we? Which I can actually see. Now, the other thing I'm going to have to do as well is make sure that I get rid of all of the pencil markings at some point. Oh, hang on. I very nearly filled a hole that I shouldn't do. I've done this batch a little bit thicker, which isn't a bad thing really, it just means it doesn't plop off the lollipop stick as easy as it should, or as I would like. That's a good job I marked up these. Now interestingly, there's a bit here, you might not find it interesting, I do. There's a bit here that I'm pretty sure is filler, that's not wood. Now I did think about trying to take it out, this strip here, but then I thought, well, do I really need to do that? And the answer is no, because if it's in there doing a job, I can leave it in there doing a job. I can just make sure that its edge is sealed, so that it's not going to start coming apart. Now there is, I wouldn't say a crack, there's sort of a line going along here that does need filling, so it's not like I'm just doing it for the hell of it. Now I know as well that this, well, to be fair, if you've been watching any of my videos you'll know this is an ugly stage of what's happening, and it will be ugly until we have, excuse me, sanded all of this down and cleaned away any of the excess, because obviously the glue, as we know, I'll make sure I don't bang my legs here. The glue, as we know, soaks into the wood and it can mark it, it can stain it, but we know that we can remove that. So basically if we sanded it and didn't clean it, when it comes to varnishing it, it would highlight every single part where glue has been put. Well, the idea of the clean is so that when it comes to varnishing it, you might see where the glue is in the gaps and in the holes, but you won't see any rings around the holes of where the glue has soaked in. Now you may also think, well, he's using way too much fucking glue there. Well, yeah, I might be, but that's fine. I'd rather sand it down than have to faff. Yes, that is a gap there. So it'll be you can actually see that in a minute. Oh. And things as well with a lot of these sort of holes or cracks, I don't know exactly how deep any of them go. From what I've sort of learned, it's less time consuming to put too much on and take it off than not put enough on and have to redo it. I may find that I still have to redo it, but if I do, it won't be from not having put enough on. Well, it will be, because that's why I've had to redo it, but not a conscious decision of, oh, let's not put too much on. A little more liquidy really. I should have put a bit more glue in it. Trying to be careful not to fill a hole I don't want to fill, while making sure I cover the crack. There we go. you in there. Now, a tricky bit I'm going to have here is, well, I suppose I'll put my camera over on the desk for the final sort of quarter or third of the table. Just having a look, see if I can see any more holes that I did or didn't mark that could do with a... I mean, some of them are just tiny little markings. So that's a pinhole. Pinhole shouldn't be there. Okay. I may find as well. Oh, hang on, yeah. Well, no, I won't do that yet. There's a bit there that may need doing, but it needs sanding out more. Okay, so I think, by the looks of it, I've got all of the bits on here. Now, I haven't put any glue in these, because I think I will wait until I've sanded them out more and then see what I'll do in them. Yeah. Right. Let's get set up for the final third. Okay, so let's finish this off, shall we? We'll start over here. Let's see what we got. A little bit there. A little bit there, a little bit there. Almost filled in. What are the signals, symbols? Oh. Oh. It's quite a big hole there, which I am filling because there are a few cracks in the hole, or gaps in the hole I should say. Now, obviously this has been a long time coming getting to the repair stage. Should have been at this stage months ago. But I'm sure you can all appreciate the difficulties that we've been having. But now that we are at this stage, I mean, I need to crack on with this to get it finished. I've got other stuff piling up to do as well. I think I mentioned it. I did get the new tool of the bench sander, which is what I used to sand down the corner bracket for over there. Which will help me with a couple of the projects that I've got, but at least now I'm in the situation where with this table, all of the bits can now be varnished, and that was an important stage to get to. It's one of the reasons why I'm sort of cracking on with this, because I know this needs doing, but there's also a lot of varnishing to do. Now when I'm going to do that or start that, I don't know. because on my work table at the moment is a little coffee table that I've kind of been working on but not videoing. Which, because of my back problems, took a lot longer to strip than it should have done. But that's now stripped and ready for a repair and a varnish. But because that's on my workbench, it means that the bench that I use for doing the varnishing currently has a table on it. So I need to make a choice on that. Do I finish the table, the little one, as quickly as I can, or do I try and find somewhere to put that and do the bits? To be honest, I'm leaning towards finishing the little coffee table, because then it's done, it can go where it's meant to go, or I can get rid of it, either way. And then I haven't got that over my shoulder while I'm doing all the other bits. Get the holes there. The thing is as well, I got a phone call today about my appointment for my stomach issues, which, well, hopefully I'll be able to find out why I've been shitting blood recently. But then typically, since I've been to the doctors, I've not shit blood. Typical. But either way, yeah. So I need to find out what's causing that. Is it serious? What the issue is with my stomach? Is that serious? Because if it's an abdominal hernia, the only way to fix it is surgery. But they won't do surgery until it gets to a point where it's too painful to really cope with. I'd rather not get to that point, but that's the way the world goes. The problem is, if it's worse than an abdominal hernia, then it's seriously worse. And then I've no idea what the situation will be then. So that's probably why I've been determined the last few days to really try and get this done. Right, let's have a quick look. See, check to make sure I've filled all the bits that I want to. Looks like I potentially have. Okay. Well, the only thing I can do with this now is leave it to dry, and we'll see what the next episode's going to be. It's either going to be sanding this beast down or doing a bit of varnishing. I ain't got a clue which, so yeah, good luck in knowing which I'll do. Anyway, have a good one, and I'll see you all soon.